So really take it easy, okay? Uh, it's Friday, the 23rd of October, right? We're here for yoga at Simply Yoga. I'm adjusting here a little bit. Um, so take your time if you're at home. Get comfortable. Let yourself grab a blanket if you need, blocks if you have them, and we'll get comfortable here. So let's sit. If you want to sit up on a blanket, do. Otherwise, just sit however feels good. Whether you cross your legs or stretch your legs out. And then just close your eyes and start to enjoy your breath coming in and going out. So if you can, feel the breath easily coming into your belly. If you're comfortable, to allow your breaths to come towards those three parts. You can inhale into the belly, into your ribs, all the way up into your chest. And letting your hands then release on out beside you here now. Let the fingertips lightly touch the floor. As you exhale the next time, bring your chin down towards your chest. Release your head forward. Let yourself feel that release down, maybe into between the shoulder blades on your back. And then we'll inhale, bringing the gaze back forward, and let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And let's inhale the right arm all the way out and up overhead here now. And we're going to come over into side stretch. So letting yourself release over into that side. Breathing into the right side here. And now on your next exhale, look down and let yourself lower that right arm down. It doesn't matter how far. It depends on your shoulder. You may want to bring the hand all the way down to touch the floor, or you may not. And then we'll inhale and open back up into that side stretch. And we'll rise all the way on back up, lowering that right arm on down. And we'll inhale the left arm all the way out and up overhead. And then we'll come over into that side stretch, breathing into the left ribs. Opening up through that side. Inhale. And then as you exhale again, turn to look down and let your left arm come down. Again, depending on you and your shoulder, how it feels, as far as you want to go. And on your next inhale, open back into that side stretch. Opening back up to face front. And then we'll come all the way on back up to sitting here now. Inhaling here at the top. And on the exhale, let's twist to our right. Let your left hand come over towards your right knee. Let yourself lengthen up through the top of your head. Find release in the back of your neck and throat. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center. We're going to go all the way into the other direction. Feel the outside edges of your feet into the floor if you're cross-legged, or maybe your heels if your legs are long. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you on back around into center again. Good. And let's switch the cross of our legs if we're cross-legged. Bring your other leg in front. And then from here, start to move a little bit with your breath. So when you exhale, let yourself come on forward with a nice long back. And when you inhale, let yourself come on back up. So take your time. Doesn't matter how far you move with the breath. Just letting yourself allow the exhalations to bring you forward, your inhalations to bring you back. Good. And then the next time we come forward, we're going to stay forward. And you can put your hands wherever you need for support. You can stay up high. And you can walk the hands farther forward if you choose to. If you're okay to let your head go ahead and release, let your head hang a little bit, do, unless it puts too much pressure in your back. And just enjoy now. Easy, full, deep breaths. One more nice breath here. And then we'll walk ourselves on back up. Letting our hands, once we're up here, come on out beside us onto the floor. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And now let's stretch our arms straight up from our shoulders. T position here with your arms. Flex your hands a little bit here. Let yourself bend your elbows a little and then press out into the heels of the hands like you're pushing two walls away from you. And then let's bring our left arm on top of our right. Give yourself a hug. Let your elbows release down. Hold wherever feels good. Maybe towards your armpits, maybe over the top of your shoulders. Let yourself release there. And then you can head towards eagle or half eagle wrap if you want, sending the backs of the hands towards each other or the right fingers into that left palm if you choose. Or you can let yourself stay hugging and breathe into between the shoulder blades on the back here. And then we'll release. Let your elbows come down and then your arms release on down, fingertips lightly touching the ground. And when you inhale, float the arms back up into that T position, right out from your shoulders. We're going to flex the hands again, bend the elbows again, bring the hands in a little bit, and then press out into the heels of the hands. Good. And we'll bring the right arm on top of the left this time to give a hug. Again, lower, higher, doesn't matter. See if you can release here. Bring your chin down towards your chest a little bit. And then see if you can roll your left ear towards your left shoulder just to let yourself release the side of the neck a little bit. And then come back to center and roll your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then we'll release and come on back into center again. And then as you rise your head up, or you can stay forward if you want, staying in the hugging, or send the backs of the hands towards each other, heading towards your eagle wrap. Bringing the breath into between the shoulder blades on your back. Good. And then we'll unfold the arms on down beside us and shake out a little bit, move through your hands a little bit. And let's bring our right leg out to the side. Now, depending on this left knee, you can keep the foot in towards you here. If it doesn't feel good, bring it out farther and try that. Or you can put support underneath your left knee if you want to. Because all we're going to do is let the right toes and knee face up. And we're going to come forward just a little bit, releasing into that inner thigh. So just think about the knee and the toe of the right foot facing upward. Good. And let yourself find a little bit of release, stretch there through the inner thigh. Again, if it bothers your knee, you can put support underneath that left knee or change a little bit about how you have that left leg there, that left foot in front of you. One more breath here. And then we'll rise on back up, and we're just going to switch legs. So stretching the left leg out. And again, if you feel iffy in this right knee, make sure you put some support or change how far out the foot is away from you. And then again, letting the left foot flex, feel the heel on the ground and the knee and the toes face up, and come forward and let yourself find a nice stretch there, a nice release for the inner thigh. So take your time, breathe. Imagine you're coming forward from your low back. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up. Bringing ourselves on back up. And let's bring our legs on forward in front of us. And let yourself circle your feet around a little bit. So let your feet circle. They can go the same direction if you feel better going the same direction, or you can bring them opposite. And then finish off, and then flex your feet, draw your toes back, and then when you point your feet, really let yourself feel like you're reaching those toes as far away as you can. And then again, flex through the feet, draw the toes back, and then let yourself point through the feet. And then one more time, flexing, moving through the ankles and the feet. Good. And then pointing and letting yourself release the tops of the feet. Good. And then just let your legs do little windshield wiper blades, either side to side or opposite side to side. Good. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So if you know you don't want to be on your knees, grab a blanket. If you feel like you'd rather have support, you can always be up higher too, or out of your wrists. Come on to fists if you need to. Go down to forearms. If you need to get out of your hands and your wrists a lot, you need to go to your forearms, do it. And then we'll move through our cat-cows. Now really take your time and just enjoy feeling that ease of the tailbone leading the way here. Rolling through the spine. Let it feel very natural. And if you want to stay in cat or cow for a couple of breaths without moving, by all means do that. Good. And then we'll finish the one we're on. And we'll come to a more neutral spine here. And let's send our right foot behind us on the floor. Curl the toes under and let yourself just press into the heel a little bit here. Engage your belly, zip up your low belly. And then we'll switch. So bringing that right knee back and sending the left foot back behind us. Curl the toes under. Let yourself enjoy opening through the back of the left leg. Good. And then we'll come back again to the right leg back. So right foot's back on the floor. Then see if you can lift the leg up about parallel to the floor. And if you want to release your left arm forward, you can. Coming into a little balance. You don't need to, just if it feels good. And then we'll bring the hand down and the knee down, and we're going to switch. Send the left foot back behind us. Curl the toes on the floor first. And then once you lift that left leg up, you can release your right arm forward for a balance or not. And then bring the hand down, bring the knee down, and let's shift back towards pose of a child. So letting yourself be easy and mindful, right? So take your time. Big toes towards each other. Knees can separate as much as you want. Let your arms be at a place where you're very comfortable to be. Good. Nice, easy, full breaths. Feel the low back expanding on your inhales. And then we'll bring our arms on back overhead if they're not already and come on up to all fours. And we're going to step our left foot forward and find lunge. So if you need blocks, you can have your hands on blocks. Any height. Take your time. Get yourself situated there in your lunge. Make sure that front knee is bending no farther forward than your ankle so you're not putting undue pressure on your knee there. And we're going to switch and go to the other side. Good. We're going to switch again. So again, bringing that left foot forward. And just gently now press the feet a little away from each other like you're trying to make your mat a little bit longer with your feet. Zip up your low belly. So feel the pose in your whole body here, finding your lunge. Good. We're going to switch again. So as you bring that right foot forward, Again, start to press the feet away from each other. Imagine you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. Engage your low belly. Find that length. Good. And we'll step forward from here, coming on into standing forward bend. So feet, hips distance apart, parallel. Take your time. You know that if you feel like you need to kind of adjust your feet a little bit or walk a little bit in your forward bend, you can. And then come back in. Feel real centered between your feet. Let your knees soften a little bit. Use whatever support you need. You can put your elbows above your knees if you need to support your back. Or you can let yourself release, either holding your elbows or bring your hands down towards the blocks or the floor. And then feel your sitting bones right over your heels. Easily accepting your breaths in and out. And then let's let our hands come on up to our hips as we bend our knees and rise on up to standing. We'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Finding our mountain pose here now. So take your time. Your feet are right underneath you. Let your gaze come on forward and out. Let your hands come right into where they want to go to, towards your chest. There's no right or wrong. Just feel real easy in your shoulders. Bring your gaze on out, whether your eyes are opened or closed, as though you're looking out towards the horizon. And let yourself just enjoy coming into that mountain pose. Imagine for a second that you're breathing in and out through every pore of your skin. And then as we unfold our arms on down beside us, we're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend the knees as you come forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into a lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So whether your dog is done with your hands up on blocks or down on the floor or even up on a chair, take your time, enjoy the length of the spine, walk a little bit if you can in your dog, bend one knee at a time and enjoy that release of that long back of that long leg. So give your body time to adjust here in dog. And then come on back to your full dog. Next inhale, we'll come on out to a plank. Engaging the belly, feel the sitting bones reaching down for the heels. And we're going to lower down. Now you can put your knees down if you want. And we'll come all the way down onto the mat. And we'll come on up into Sphinx with our elbows under our shoulders, spreading our fingers nice and wide. So take your time. Let yourself just enjoy. If you feel like your back is not feeling so comfortable, you can always go lower and slide your elbows down more towards your waist. So be where you can. Let yourself enjoy opening up through the front of the body. Just gently feel, if you can, the tops of the toes into the mat. And now we're going to release to come all the way back down and make our way back into our down dog. Whether you come back to hands and knees and then back to your dog, or maybe through a half push-up or a full push-up. Elbows hug inward. Spread those fingers nice and wide. And we're going to bring the right foot forward to find our lunge. And you can put the left knee down to get there if you need. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend again. Easy breaths now. Watch your breaths all the way in and out. You know, you can hold your elbows if that feels fine for you, or use support if you need to. See if you can feel your ribs expand as you inhale. And imagine the top of the head getting closer to the ground as you exhale. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. We'll reverse the arms. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms as you fold forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen into that spine, right? Nice flat back. And this time, left foot steps back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers wide. Again, reach equally back through your sitting bones. Good. Next inhale is going to bring us out to that plank again. And we're going to lower down. So again, knees first if you need. Elbows by the ribs. And this time, just come up into a little cobra. Lift your head up, your chest up. Maybe even float your hands up for a second off the floor. And make a loose fist here with your hands for a second. And then bringing the hands on back. You can come higher if you want in your cobra. Not necessary. You stay as low as you choose. And then we'll release and come back down. We're going to make our way back into down dog from here. However you want to get there. Hands and knees. Half or a full push up. And we'll bring the left foot forward to come into lunge. And again, you can put your right knee down if you need. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. Full deep breaths. If you need to soften your knees, do. Remember, you don't want to lock your knees. You do want to feel your sitting bones right over your heels so you're not shifting your weight back behind your heels. Let go through your face and your jaw. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips and bend our knees, rising on up. Inhaling the arms out and up. And on the exhale, bring the hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms. Clasp your hands behind you here now. As you inhale, see if you can let your hands come a little bit off of you back there. And then when you exhale, let the hands come back down. So when you inhale, just letting the arms, the hands come off the back a bit. Good. And then releasing back down. And now keep the hands down. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend the knees and start to come forward. Now, you might want to stay pretty parallel to the floor with your back. So you have like a tabletop back. Or you may want to go farther forward, let your head hang, release more over in towards your legs. Now, what your shoulders let you do is up to you. You can release your arms off away from the back if it's possible. Feel the feet equally into the floor here now. And we're going to release the arms on down. Inhale into that nice long flat back again. And we're going to step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's let the next inhale bring us out to plank. Now you can either stay in plank or you can let your pelvis and your hips sink down and come through for an up dog if you want. Not necessary. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Walk a little bit. Let yourself walk. Good. And then let's bring our right foot forward and come into lunge. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. Feet underneath us. Hands to the hips. Bend the knees. Rise on up to standing. Inhale the arms out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And from here, let's sit back into a little chair pose. So let your gaze come maybe 6 feet in front of you on the floor. Send your hips back a little bit. Now check out, look down, make sure your knees are coming out over the center of the feet. And then bring the gaze again forward, maybe 6 feet in front of you. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward, back into that standing forward bend. Inhale into that flat back. Remember, hands can go to the shins or your blocks or the floor. And we'll step the left foot back this time, coming into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Good. Let's let our inhale bring us to plank, where you can stay if you want, or you can come through for that up dog, letting the hips come down, letting the chest come forward, bend the elbows a little bit in towards your chest, and then we'll come on back again into down dog. And we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge from here, and then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Easy, deep breaths. Let your hands go wherever they automatically want to go. You know, so if it feels good to release to your elbows, or if you feel like putting your hands up on your back again, or behind your legs. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bend the knees, press into the feet. We'll rise up and inhale the arms out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward again into that standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, find a nice long back. And let's just go into down dog. Place your hands. Walk yourself back into your down dog. Take your time. If you need to walk a little more in your dog, do. Good. And now from here, we're going to bring the left foot forward, and we're coming up for a warrior one. So if you have blocks, you think you might need them, you might want to bring them there towards the front of your mat. Take your time. Get your shoulders around square here to the front of your mat. And then be mindful of this back foot. Remember in warrior one, the heel rotates back a little bit. So as the shoulders come square to the front of the mat, this back foot is turned out maybe 20 or 30 degrees. And then let your arms just hang for a second, right? Feel your shoulders over your hips. Let your arms hang. Bring your gaze on forward. Feel very equal with your weight between your feet all the way up into your hips. Good. And now, let's just inhale the right arm all the way out beside us and up overhead. And on the exhale, let it lower back down. So staying really solid here in the core of the body. And we'll inhale the left arm all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, lower that arm on back down. And now we'll do both, inhaling both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we'll lower the arms back down beside us. And one more time. This time as we inhale the arms out and up, we're going to keep them there. Wide V is fine. You can bring the hands more directly over your shoulders if you choose. Maybe look up a little bit. Feel that sense of the sternum lifting up towards where the wall meets the ceiling a little bit in front of you. Feel that lift of the belly. Feel very grounded in that back foot. Good. One more breath. And then let's release our arms on down, and we're going to come on into a lunge. Bringing our hands down, releasing now the right heel directly behind our foot. And we're going to add a little twist once we're in this lunge. So keeping your right hand grounded, bringing your left hand to your left hip, and rolling that shoulder up. Now you can keep your hand down, or you can stretch that left arm up if you want. You can keep it down on your low back. Good. Lengthen back through that inner right heel and out through the top of your head. Good. And then bringing the left hand back down, let's see here now if we can straighten that left leg knee out so that both legs are straight, but let the right heel just go directly back behind your right foot. So you just get a little more. You're not hiking the heel inward like for a pyramid, but coming into the backs of the legs. Good. Then we'll bend that left knee again, find our lunge. And then from here, let's step forward and come into standing forward bend. Take a couple of breaths here. Let yourself release. Good. And then we're just going to step our left foot back, and we're going to make our way up to warrior one from here. So planting that back foot. Once you start to rise up to warrior one, you can decide if you need to change your stance, right? You might need to widen or let it be a little less wide. Get your shoulders around square. Good. So bring yourself into getting those shoulders square. Let your arms hang. Actually kind of let the arms swing a little bit. Just a little bit. So you feel very solid here. Very solid. The belly, the low back, the hips. And then let the arms just hang, and we're going to inhale the left arm all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll lower the arm on back down beside us. And then we'll inhale the right arm all the way out and up. And exhaling, lowering the arm on back down. Both arms at the same time. Inhaling, rising the arms on up. And on the exhale, letting the arms release again, back down beside us. This last time we're going to stay with the arms. Inhaling those arms out and up. Again, they can be wide V. They can be up more over the shoulders. The hands can. Turn the pinkies towards each other. Feel that bit of a lift there in the front of the body. Belly engaged. Now think about energy being all the way out through your fingertips. Shoulders soften down away from your ears. One more breath. And then we'll release. We're going to come down with the hands. Again, we're going to find that lunge, remember. So once you get your hands down, releasing that left heel directly behind your foot, setting up for that twist. So bringing the right hand on up to your right hip and rolling that right shoulder up. Let yourself reach out through the top of the head as you reach back through that inner heel. You can stretch your right arm up if you choose, or you can keep the hand down. One more breath. And then we'll bring the right hand on back down. And we're going to straighten that front knee out. Now, just let that left heel go directly back behind your foot. It might be off the floor. It might be on the floor. It doesn't matter. Just let yourself feel a little more now, releasing through the backs of the legs. Nice full breaths. Good. And then from there, we'll bend that front knee, come into lunge again, and step forward and get our feet right underneath us. And let's bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips, and rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, as you come down with your hands, come back into that chair pose for a second. Bring your gaze again, maybe 6 feet in front of you on the floor. Feel your thighs. Think of your inner thighs melting downward, which lines your knees up with the center of your feet. Doesn't mean you have to be low. And press into the feet now. Rise on up. Finding your mountain pose here now. Take your time. If you need to shift around a little bit, you can shift side to side. You can walk a little bit in place. Get yourself very comfortable there. And then bringing your gaze on forward and out. Be mindful of feeling very balanced between your feet now. A little more energy flowing through the body. And then we'll come on down with our hands. Shake out a little bit. Move around if you need to. And we're going to come into Warrior Two this time. So we'll step our right foot forward and our left foot back. And you can have your blocks handy there if you need them. So lining up your heels. Lining up that front right knee there. So bending the knee, looking down at it. You can even put your hand right there above your knee. Kind of let your head bow a little bit. And make sure that you're lined up with the knee here. Release your neck. And then, when you inhale, rise your arms and your head up so you're starting to bring your arms into Warrior Two arms. Looking out over the top of your right hand. Feel the feet equally into the floor here. Finding that powerful feeling of coming into your Warrior Two here. Very balanced. Beautiful. Turning the right palm up. We're going to inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice breath into the right side of the body. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So your right hand or forearm can be on your thigh. You can decide whether you want to add your left arm up into line or not with the left side of the body, or keep your hand down. It's fine to leave your arm down, lay it on your side, keep your hand on your hip. Be where you can be there. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And now bringing our hands to our hips, let's turn our feet more parallel. And if you need a block or blocks here, as you come forward, bringing yourself into your wide-legged forward bend. So feel free to grab blocks if you're better off having some support rather than just a floor. And then just bend a knee at a time. Take your time, letting yourself ease your way into your inner thighs here. Be mindful. Don't rush through. Let yourself give your legs and your hips time to adjust. And then come on back into feeling equal between your feet. Now your knees can be bent or your legs can be straighter. That's up to you. And you can decide whether you need to support yourself and keep forward with your torso or go ahead and walk your hands back more towards between your feet. Pay attention to your own back. And get to that place where you're very comfortable to watch your breath. You don't feel any kind of stress in the body. You can accept your breaths fully and deeply, all the way in, all the way out. Good. One more breath. And now if you can, walk your hands back out forward. Now keep your feet where they are if you can. Bring your hands to your thighs and press your way up. And then we're just going to switch to come into Warrior Two on the other side now, turning your left toes forward and letting yourself come to Warrior Two on the other side. So adjust your stance. You might need to get more or less wide, right? Get that back foot about parallel to the back edge of your mat. Go ahead and bow your head to look towards your left knee there, your left foot and knee. You can keep the hand there on the thigh, give you a little support, release your neck. And then next time you inhale, float those arms on up into those Warrior Two arms, looking out over the top of your left hand. Now think of reaching equally back through the right fingertips, forward through the left. Feel the feet equal in the floor. And then we'll turn the left palm up. We're going to inhale the left arm up and breathe into that left side. Let the right hand give you a little support back there. And on your exhale, come into your side angle. Left hand or forearm onto your thigh. Adding that right arm up into line if you choose. Not necessary. And you know, being up higher is fine. Take your time. Enjoy the length through both sides of the body. Good. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And then we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come into that wide-legged forward bend again. So take your time. And this time, once you get down, whether it's to a block or to the floor, doesn't matter which, shift over to the right with your hands or your block. You may want to walk all the way over towards your right foot. Enjoy a couple of breaths there. And then we'll come on back through center, and we're going to go the other side. Again, it doesn't matter whether you just shift the block a little bit, walk all the way over towards your foot, or hold on to the outside of your ankle if you want. Give your body time. Breathe. Nice full breaths. And then walk on back into center. Once you get your hands back into center, whether they're on the blocks or the floor, walk them out farther, almost like you're doing a down dog. So let your hands be a little wider than your shoulders, though, okay? Hug your elbows a little towards each other. Let your heart melt down. Let yourself enjoy. Releasing into the upper back here. And then go ahead and walk your hands back, whether they stay forward of you or you walk back hands towards between your feet. And then just, again, be with your breath. See if you can accept the breaths as fully and deeply in and out as you can. So inhales and exhales both. Feeling long and deep. Good. And then slowly walk your hands out enough. Even if you need to bring your feet together before you rise up, bring your hands to your hips or your thighs and come on up to standing. And if you're dizzy at all, take your time, right? Move around a little bit. Walk through your feet, your ankles. Good. And let's bring our mat all the way into a wall. I'm not, because I'm going to turn this way, but letting the short edge of your mat come into a wall. And let's come on in to a little tree pose. Let's bring our left hand towards either the wall, or if you're at home, you know, it might be your kitchen cabinet, it might be a table, anything you have there, right? And then letting yourself shift your weight to your left supporting leg. Look at your foot. Make sure you're not turning your toes way towards the left there. Think of being pretty parallel. Although it's fine if your hip feels better to turn your toes out a little towards the wall to the left. And then bring your right foot in. Maybe you want to bring it low, below your knee. Maybe you want to reach down, get your foot, bring it up to the inside of your thigh. Just make sure you're not pressing your foot into the inside of your knee. And then just bring your gaze forward. Now, whether you actually let go of whatever your support is there and balance a little bit, or keep your hand onto whatever you're using for support, it's fine. You can think of bringing hands to your heart or rising your arms up overhead. Play with letting yourself, if you need to, put your hand back for support, or put your foot down and bring it back into the inside of your leg. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release and come on down. Now take care of that foot you're standing on. Circle your ankle a little bit. Maybe even curl your toes under. Press down a little. And we're going to turn on around and go the other side. So standing on your right foot, bringing your left heel in either to your inner ankle or your inner foot all the way into your inner calf below your knee. Or letting the foot come up higher. And again, feeling the foot gently coming into the leg, the inner leg coming back into your foot. And it's fine to have to readjust, right? To put the foot down and kind of get situated again. Sometimes rising the right hand up higher and the left arm up higher is easier to balance because it brings a natural uplift here to the front of the body. Just take your time, don't take it too seriously. If you can't balance today, don't worry about it. Let yourself just play. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release the foot on back down, and good. Now, separate your feet wider and come forward. Let your elbows rest above your knees. If that's enough of a squat for you to let your hips go, stay there. If you'd like to bring your feet closer, turn your toes out and really come down. If your knees and hips do fine in a squat, you can. If not, don't do it. Stay with your elbows above your knees. Let yourself release your hips to where it feels good in your back. Good. And then we're going to come on down, and we're coming to our bellies all the way down onto the floor from here. So let yourself release all the way down. Stretch out long. Bring your forehead onto your hands. You can make a little pillow with your hands, stacking your palms. Palms are facing down. You can release here. If that doesn't feel good for your neck, then adjust however you need. And then bend your knees and let your feet circle around. Let yourself circle through. Switch directions of those circles. And then let your lower legs come from one side to the other. And then come on back into center. And let's stretch our legs out long. Come on to the tops of the toes here. But see if you can then just let go through your hips and your legs. For a lot of us, that means the heels will hike outward a little bit. Not always. But just breathe into your low back. Good. And then let's bring our forearms onto the mat, elbows under the shoulders, and come into a Sphinx pose, spreading the fingers wide. And remember, if it's too much in your back, you can slide elbows closer towards your waist so that you're not putting any undue pressure in your low back. You're trying to just enjoy opening a little through the front of the body. Good. And then let's bring our hands together, clasp them, send our pinky fingers out. Now you can bend the knees and lift up to a half forearm plank where you're on that flesh above your knees, pressing down into your forearms. Now think about your heart melting a little bit towards the ground. If you feel like you want to put your feet down and come into a full forearm plank, you can. Good. And then release and let yourself shift your hips back a little bit. Walk your knees up a little. And now you might just want to stay right here. So you can do the same thing. Press into your forearms. Let your heart melt down. Let yourself release there. Elbows are hugging in towards each other a little bit. Or you may decide, I want to lift up into a little dolphin pose and be up on my feet. You don't have to come up. You can stay down on your knees and still let your shoulders release there. Let yourself feel your heart melting down. Good. And then we're going to slowly come down. Now we're going to go all the way back to laying on our bellies with our arms, this time down alongside us. So come on down, forehead onto the mat, arms out beside you. Turn your palms down towards the ground. And from here, on your next inhale, let your head just float. Barely clear your nose off the floor. In other words, don't lift high, but the head lifts up a little bit. And then let it come down. It really makes you realize how heavy your head is, doesn't it? And now inhale your legs up a little bit if you can. And then exhale, let them come back down. And now let's try the head and the legs at the same time, which is easier. And then release and come back down. And now from here, we're going to add the arms, everything imaginable. When you inhale, lift up off the ground. Reaching fingertips and toes back towards the wall behind you. Beautiful. Letting yourself feel that strength of the upper body. One more breath. And then we'll release. We're going to shift our hands under our shoulders. And then come on up and back towards child's pose. And you know, if your hips and knees don't allow you to shift back all the way, you can stay kind of forward to your forearms. Or you can roll up a blanket, put it behind your knees, which can be helpful. And whether your arms stay soft and bent and on the floor above you there, or maybe you want to bring your arms back down alongside your legs, just let yourself go to your breath. Feeling the breath coming into the low back. One more nice full breath. Feeling the breath coming in and out through your nose. And as we bring our hands by our knees, we're going to press our way up. And slowly let ourselves come on around with our legs in front of us to sitting. So if you know sitting on a blanket is better for you, grab a blanket and sit on it. Take your time. Move your legs around a little bit. Good. Now, let's come into getting our right leg up here. You can do a figure 4 cross for a second. Now, the knee can be, the ankle can be above or below your knee, but just let your hip release for a breath there. And now this is up to you. If you can, see if you can then take your hands and draw the leg in towards you a little bit so that you feel Keep flexing this right foot so that you feel like you're releasing the leg in towards you. You can kind of rock it back and forth a little bit if that helps you find a little more release. Some of you might even want to wrap yourself so that the arms hold on to the leg, right? But if that's not possible, just see if you can at least let yourself feel the weight of your leg, however much you can. Good. And sitting up nice and tall. And then from here, we're going to bring that leg down and stretch it out, and we're going to switch just to open up through the left hip. So first do that figure 4 if you can. Again, the leg can be ankle below the knee or above. Flex through the foot. And then it's like you just want to reach down and just draw and hug that leg in towards you, flexing through the foot. Again, depending on you, how your hips built. Some people, it's really easy to fold the leg really in using your arms to help you. And then again, if you can rock a little bit and let yourself be easy, just really pay attention. Try to really let the weight of the leg help you release in your hip. Good. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to stretch our legs on out in front of us from here. Move through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And then we're going to come into a little Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of the feet towards each other. They can be out way far. If your hips are feeling like really uncomfortable, you can put, or your knees, either one, you can put blankets underneath your legs, blocks, or blankets, either one actually, but so that you have support and you're able to let yourself sit up nice and tall without tensing up in your hips. Instead, you're trying to get this sense that your knees are just reaching away from each other. So if you have the support, sometimes that helps you release a little bit better rather than having the knees float up there in the air. That depends on you, though. So sit up nice and tall. Feel like your sitting bones are equally into the floor. You have a string attached to the base of your spine. It comes up through your spinal column and out through the top of your head. And somebody's pulling up on that string just to give you as much space as you can find in your spine. Now, whether you come forward or not is up to you. You can release yourself forward, keeping the back long. If it feels fine at the end there to let your head hang, by all means do. Sometimes that puts too much into the back, but if you're okay to let your head hang, you can. So just releasing now into your breath again. Go right to your breath. So you're just letting yourself allow the pose to do the work for you. All you're doing is just watching your breath coming in and going out. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come back up, and we're going to bring our hands behind us. Now, you can be up on fingertips if it's better for you, or you can lean back onto the palms of your hands if that feels good. Draw your chest forward. Let your shoulders come back. Gaze can be a little more forward, or gaze can be a little more up. Really, that depends on your neck. Don't add tension to the neck, in other words. Let it feel good. Let yourself just open through the front body. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come on back up. And we're going to bring our knees up and stretch our legs out, but we are going to lie down on our backs from here. So have blocks handy in case you want them right beside you. Come on down. Let your feet come onto the floor. And let yourself just curl the tailbone up into a couple of little pelvic tilts. So when you exhale, feel the tailbone curling, the low back releasing towards the ground. And when you inhale, send the tailbone back down and you come back into feeling that natural curve, come back into the low back. So let it feel good. It's like you're rocking your pelvis, but very small and deep. So these aren't a big, huge, excuse me, movement. It's a tiny little movement. Good. And then finish off and come back to more neutral spine now. Set your feet up for a bridge pose. So the feet are a little bit wider than they are in your mountain pose, but they're still parallel, right? Feel the feet on the floor. Actually, before you do anything, lift your toes up. See if you can feel the four corners of your feet. So arches are lifting up. You're not rolling to the inside or the outside of your feet. And then let the toes softly come back down to the floor. Bring the arms down alongside you. Bend your elbows. Let yourself do the arms where the elbows are bent and in close to you, and your palms face each other. And then press down into the backs of the arms. Feel how your chest rises up. Maybe you can roll your shoulders under more. And then possibly lifting up into bridge pose. It doesn't have to be high. You might decide you want to lift like an inch off the floor. Or you may decide you want to bring the hips up higher. If you go up and you feel like getting the elbows closer underneath you and you roll those shoulders under even more, sometimes that enables you to lift up a little higher. So you shouldn't feel bridge pose in your back. You'll feel your thighs, definitely. Especially if you lift your heels up in your bridge, you're going to feel your quads there engage. Lengthening the back body and the front body. You can lower your heels down, and if you're like, really, I don't want to work this hard, I really just want to release my back, you can grab a block and put it underneath you, right there where you're supported on your low back, right there in your sacrum, that flat part, right, is what's released into the block. So you're not hanging your hips off the block. And you can just relax in your supported bridge pose if that feels really good to you. And you can let your arms go wherever's comfortable. You can let them release down on the floor. You can put your hands on your belly if that feels good. Sometimes it feels good to bring your arms overhead. So just let yourself, if you're in this supported bridge, release for a couple or 3 more breaths. If you're doing your bridge pose, that's fine. You can move up and down. You can even move up and down off the block, too. If you feel like you want to rise up a little off the block and then go back down, you can. So finishing off. So if you are up on a block, be really mindful when you lift up to come off of it. When you're coming back down to the floor, be easy. And once you do come down, bring your knees on into your chest. Let your knees release side to side a little bit. And then, once you feel like your back's feeling a little bit better here, bring your left foot onto the floor, but keep your right knee into your chest. And then we're going to slowly extend the left leg down long on the floor. Start to flex through both your feet now. Feel the right leg gently coming into your hands. So you're feeling that bit of a natural curve in your low back. And then let your right hand draw the right knee over towards the right, like you're pulling it up towards your shoulder. Let your left hand just release onto the top of your left hip. And stay grounded in that left side. Just enjoy releasing here into the hip. And then bring the knee back to center. Let your left hand come over to the right knee. Stretch your right arm out beside you and bring the knee across. Now your twist might be really barely bringing the knee over to the left. Or you may want to release your right hip off the floor and go farther over. That is totally up to you. Take your time. If it doesn't feel good to keep your hand on your knee, you can release the hand off the leg and just let the leg come over where you want, right? Keeping the right shoulder grounded. See if you can turn to look to your right. Just releasing a little more there into the upper back. One more breath. And then bring the knee back to center, the head back to center. And we're going to bring the left knee into the chest. So you have both knees in. Hug them for a second in towards you. And then put the right foot on the floor. You're holding your left leg now in, and you're going to extend the right leg out long. Flex through the feet. Feel that sense of a natural curve in the back as you feel the left leg gently coming into your hands. And then let your left hand here draw that knee to the left. Right hand can just rest on your right hip there, the right hip pointer bone. Stay grounded in that right side. Enjoy the release for that left hip. And then we'll come back into center with the knee. Right hand comes over to the left knee. You can stretch your left arm out beside you. And again, as you come over with that knee to the right, it might be just a couple of inches with the left hip staying really down. Or you might feel like releasing the hip off the floor. That is up to you. Take your time. Add the head turning to the left if you can, just if it feels good. One more breath. And now when you come back into center with the head and the knee, be really easy. Let's bring both knees. Right knee is going to come up now too, and let the knees come side to side. Or you may feel really good to circle your knees too. Let that happen automatically. Whatever you want to do here. Knees moving around side to side or circling. And then come back to center, send the feet up, and let yourself slide the knees down towards the outside edges of your ribs. For your happy baby, you can have your hands on the outside of your legs or out around your thighs onto the back of your thighs. Or you can reach up for your feet or your ankles. And just easily let the legs, if it feels good, let yourself rock side to side here. If that doesn't feel good in your hips or your back, don't do it. And now just start to listen to your own body. Is there something else that it automatically wants to do? And that might be anything at all, because we're all different. So if there's another pose, another movement of the body that you need to do, anything that's going to help you be able to come into releasing into your Shavasana a little better. If you need another twist or another hip opener, you may decide you want to do that Baddha Konasana. We did seated, soles of the feet together, or a figure 4 there on the floor. Take your time. I'm going to start to move around and get some lights off in the studio. Those of you at home, get whatever you need to be comfortable. So if you need blankets for cover or for under your knees, you need support, a rolled up blanket can work if you don't have a bolster. A little bit of support underneath the back of the head. If anybody here needs anything, wave at me. So if you need to move your arms, your legs around a little bit to find a little more comfort for your shoulders and your hips, do. And let yourself, once you get where you feel like you're able to release, your eyes gently close, and you can watch the wave of your own breath coming in and going out. And the breath will start to quiet down. You just have to give it a little bit of a chance. When your mind wanders off and you realize that you're thinking off into some thought, it's okay. Just softly keep coming back to that wave of your breath. Giving your body and your brain time to benefit here from all you just did. Just finding those quiet places and letting yourself completely and fully relax. yourself to become aware of the ground supporting you again. Letting your breath gradually come in and go out a little more fully and deeply, not forcing, but just receiving breaths in a little more deeply. And imagine those deeper breaths bringing you back into physically wanting to move again, and let your fingers and your toes lead you when you're ready to move. Into your hands, your feet. You might even want to move into the ankles, the wrists, circling a little bit with your hands and feet. Moving into your arms and your legs when you're ready. Take your time, stretch if you need to. Bring your knees in if that feels better. You know you're welcome to stay on your back a little longer. You're welcome to roll to either side if you're comfortable. To come into a fetal position, you can let your knees be soft as you roll to one side and just be easy. Give yourself a little more time to adjust. So that when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, it feels easy. It feels like you're ready to get your head up there again, up above your heart, and sit comfortably, however that might be. If you need to adjust to stretch your legs or put something under you to sit on, do. But close your eyes again if they opened on your way up so that you can enjoy watching your breath, keeping your focus inward a little bit longer. Feeling the breath coming in and going out through your nose. Feeling that ease of lengthening up through the top of your head. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently together there to meet in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Friday, everybody.